Welcome back, everybody. The Ryft has moved back onto the bench because it currently takes up a big chunk of the whiteboard. I have got a steering servo and a aluminum horn for the steering servo. I've got against my own better judgment, a Savox for the 2-speed duties. And if I can get this thing close enough, I've got our good friend, the Castle Link, which is hooked up just off frame this way, the positively ancient Acer laptop, which takes probably about 3 minutes to boot up to run Castle Link. Fortunately, Castle Link is the only thing I use it for. So for those of you out there who do not own a Ryft, which is, I imagine, most, I just want to show you what it takes to get to where you can plug this in. Now, I'm going to remedy that by putting a little servo extension coming out of the box so that I should be able to reprogram the speed control if necessary by just taking off the body panel that is not yet fitted. So first, obviously, I mean, it's just necessary. I was going to say it's just easier to take the wheels off, but no, it is absolutely required. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, there's a spool going into. So the wheels coming off, an absolute necessity in this case. Now, when you work on most anything, odds are the wheels are going to have to come off. So we won't count these in the queue of fasteners that have to be removed to get this thing serviceable. We will just go with nuts and bolts, you know. We'll count tires as a foregone conclusion. So you got to take the shocks off from the upper, and they are not easy to get out because A, they're wedged in here, and B, they fit pretty tight. I generally cheat and grab them with some pliers or cutters or something. The rears are a little bit easier. They don't have a lock nut. But again, like, I can't get my fingers in there. So this is the working inside of a cage problem, which is why my Capra ended up coming out of a cage. So after you take those 4 off, you have to detach sway bar end links. And I would like to point out at this juncture, going back to I think video 1 or 2, yeah, you have to keep the running tally in your head, because that's the sway bar, that's the front shock, that's the rear shock. They're all different sizes, presumably just for the fun of it. Other sway bar off. We will do the ones that would be the easiest to forget. We'll do those last. There's got to be an easier... Hey, look at that. So then you have to remove these 4. And thankfully, they are all the same size. Flip it around to the other side and remove those 4. It now occurs to me in my memory banks that probably easier to take the skid bolts out first so that the front and the rear end aren't flopping around the whole time. I just put these together in a little pile. Okay, so now the sway bar links are disconnected, the shocks are disconnected, the link is now detached, and the two secret surprisers are up here that hold the battery tray to essentially the frame that goes around the receiver box. They're easy to recall because they're the only flatheads of the whole group. So then you just take it off. But that's just to get to like to work on the speed control, which is actually 4 more. Well, I gotta change out the 2-speed servo. So what are we up to? 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 20? Yep, 20. So it's 20 fasteners, 20 bolts and 2 nuts to get to the receiver box. I do think that it's a clever placement for it. Oh, and then if we're going to do the 2-speed servo, we're going to have to take the 2 screws off the speed control mount because, as you can see here, the 2-speed servo is directly underneath that mount. So technically, it's 22. The servo would require all of this operation as well. 4 more screws to take that off, just like every other servo that there is, except micros, which are only 2. Anyway, I am going to get to installing this stuff, and I'm sure I will pop in to make some remarks about the fitment of that locker. If the front fitment is anything like the rear fitment, I would like to, in this one, show the little amount of play in the locker between the bearings. So, yeah, that means I got to take another sealed diff apart and the gray goop comes out. Anyway, I will source an extension for the speed control so that if I do need, and I can just kind of leave it out here, so if I do need to reprogram it later, I can probably just get in through the side. And yeah, they're all through the little rubber grommet, so that's fun to pull out too. Anyway, that's where it stands. I got to start opening packages and putting things in and figure out what I did to the drag brake. I got to get into CastleLink and figure out what I did with this. Because we're going to see what it's like spools all around. Most of the recommendations in the comments have been just put all spools in it. And I felt like with 2 spools out of 3, the handling was just fine. Like it still does, it does reasonably well at high speed. So we might as well give it a little improvement on the rocks, so long as it doesn't really kill its ability to, like, turn. So that's where we are on that. And I'll be back in a minute. Hey everybody, remember me from a few seconds ago? Welcome back to my carnigeria. I realize some of the carnage is out of frame. We've got full carnage. Yeah, this guy. So what goes on is shouldn't be able to do that. But I don't think it's just the main gear that's broken, because when it's plugged in and under power, it just spins continuously. So that leads us to our second problem, which is there's a guy here in the room who doesn't pay attention to things closely enough when he buys them on the internet. So that's the micro servo. It's the size that is required to shift the 2-speed. And there's what I bought. I mean, when you see that in a picture without context, it's got the 2 holes, it's got a 25 spline, it's good to go. Yeah, so I get to return that. So as this thing is completely disassembled, and I'm not, I waited for that Savox for like a week. Like 5 days, 6 days. So the current 2-speed solution is, there's a zip tie holding the fork into low gear. So that's how we addressed that. I have no one to blame but myself, so I will be putting all the 2-speed bits away until such a point as I just get around to ordering another EcoPower 640T, which is, I'm pretty sure, what's going to go in here. On to the other issue at hand. Okay, if I have it out, you can see it pretty easily. Get a little focus here. See that? See that? So there's the guy, and there's the bearing, and there's a lip. And where this comes into play is you plug that guy in there, and if you click it over that way, but if you push it this way, you can actually see, boop, peekaboo, boop, peekaboo. I don't know. I don't know who's to blame for that. Did Axial at some point change the size of the bearing? Like, I mean, it's obviously that should be a 1 millimeter wider bearing. So this bearing is 4 millimeters wide. So it's clearly designed for a 5 millimeter bearing, but this is a 18-12-4. That's an 18-12-5 is not the kind of bearing I have laying around, and I have a lot of bearings laying around. So it has to go back as is. And we push it over that way to where it's smooth, and we hope for the best, I guess. To answer a potentially asked question of, well, do the little, there's a little ring on the end of the axle. You can just see it there on the inside end. Does it hold the spool assembly in place? Because like right now, it's in smooth mode. It's in smooth mode. But you can, here comes the click. You can click it over to, it kind of walks itself back the other way, but not really. Smooth mode again. So, I mean, that's the thing. And I would have to make a shim to shim that out. So here's just hoping that it doesn't lash out the pinion gear too much and wreck stuff. Very smooth there. So is it a problem? I don't know. I just know someone's tolerances changed midstream, and the width of the lands for the bearings there are the same as the width. Are the same as the width of the lands in there. So the cover does not stop it from moving either. Now, when you push the axles, you can't move it externally. Well, like if you took the whole thing and tilted up and whomp, banged it on the bench, the thing would slide over that way. So whether or not it becomes an issue will be told by time. She's all back together, and if you can believe it, not only did I have no screws left over, I wasn't missing any either. I put the exact same amount in as I took out, which is great because I didn't change anything. Before I get the wheels bolted up, we're going to address that. I've shown this in other videos. My favorite dry slide bike aid. It's just molybdenum in a very light carrier. I don't know if it's kerosene or what it is. What I do know is that the stuff is basically jet black. And if you get it on you, it's on you for a while. So we just, a little dab will do you. And I kind of try, I generally start upside down and I just do every pivot point. Pivot balls. Don't forget that there's a pivot ball at the end of every shock. Both ends of every shock, I should say. Just a little drop. Don't forget the steer links. Always have a paper towel handy to wipe up any drips. It takes about a minute. Let's see, there's a nice big blorp there. And I'm already bouncing around too much, so I know I'm missing some. I haven't done the rear uppers. Oh, got a big blob there. The beauty of it is when it dries, the only thing left behind is the molly. So it never attracts any dirt, doesn't stick to it. It doesn't attract anything. That one is kind of hard to get to down there in the trailing arm. And usually, unless you're running in a lot of water, one application, I usually do it once, and I'm done. Nice. There's a nice drop. Give it a couple. Yeah, the sound of the spring is I mounted this spring in the outer hole instead of the inner hole. But so we've got no more suspension noise. Just the sound of the spring in the wrong hole. I think I have hit all of the spots. It feels very smooth. Let's get some wheels back on this thing. I mean, boy, am I kicking myself for not looking closer at that servo. I told myself to just order another Eco Power because the one that's in Daphne has been flawless. So I don't know what compelled me. Well, I do. It was laziness, genuinely. I didn't have enough stuff put in the cart to put in an A-main order. So I found the Savox on Amazon on Prime, and then it took 5 days to get here anyway. So I should have just taken the hit on the shipping and ordered the Eco Power to begin with, because I am all too aware. I mean, I've taken this thing apart several times now. I know what's involved in taking it apart. So I'm going to have to take it all the way apart again to put that 2-speed servo in. Getting the big 5mm nuts inside a standard beadlock, like, they just barely fit. And they're recessed in so far that I can't put them in with my ham hands. So shout out to the little tool that comes when you buy a Vanquish Phoenix, the 7 to 8mm adapter. It's kind of the only way I get those things in there. So let us... I mean, should I have fired this up ahead of time to make sure everything worked? Well, probably. Oh, the power plug. There we go. I want the speed control mounted the way the speed control doesn't want to be mounted. Like, I don't know how I'm going to plug this battery in once this thing has its body panels on it. Okay, that was on. Alright, okay. Short of flipping the speed control around the other way so that the battery wires in the front and the speed control wires are on the back. Which, I mean, I guess that would work. I don't know. I'm assuming I hooked it up this way for a reason. So we will find out in short order the quality of the servo. I took another off-brand gamble, as that is a thing that I do. It's a Flash Hobby, which is a... I don't know if they exist outside of the Amazon universe, but it's the manufacturer of the little $20 Outrunners that I bought, and I've been really happy with those. So, I mean, it's got torque. I haven't messed with the endpoints yet. It feels like it's throwing farther to one direction than the other, but I really can't tell. So I got in Castle Link and fiddled with it, and I believe the drag brake should be... Yeah, drag brake should... I went to instantaneous drag brake. For some reason, it was not on instantaneous drag brake. I might have changed that and just not remembered doing it. But, I mean, there you have it. So let's throw it on a rock and do a couple of quick minutes of wheeling it around and see if things are better or worse, I guess. I just really want to look at a couple quick things here. I want to look at low speed control. I want to look at the drag brake performance, and I want to look at what it looks like on flat ground now that we're all spooled out. So, I mean, obviously, the spool in the front is going to help vertically. Servo seems perfectly adequate to getting those big tires turned around. And drag brake is, I mean, acceptable. I'm used to, like, you know, more clampy. It's got a little roll out, like I would have thought it would have stopped already. I mean, it's very slow. Yeah, definitely, there's a little bit of zoot in there. All right, drag brake up. Oh, that's good. It's good. It's good. Servo seems, I mean, longevity is the really telling tale of a servo. Sure, it's going to work great right here. What am I sitting on? Yeah, you got to use the throttle with this guy. Ooh, no Velcro on the battery, no pins on the hood. Battery just flopping around in there. Put these tires on forward, right? Like, I feel like I've lost some vertical motion. Yeah, they're on correct. Oh, that's weird. Maybe I'm just not giving it enough goose. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, you gotta bounce it, which is cool, and that's what I want. So here, everything that happened seems to have improved it, because the zip tie will at least hold it in second gear, whereas man, that Traxxas died an untimely death. Yeah, this thing is, yeah, I forget how fun it is. Yeah, it's just more throttle than, oh, lift it. More throttle than what you would anticipate. Like anything else, you'd be like, no, I'm not giving it that much juice. This guy's like, yeah, give it the juice. dude is skating on right there. There we are. Still the weirdest noise out of those Castle 14 series. They all kind of have an outrunner sound to them. Yeah, I don't think, even with that pounder up front, it looks like the weight distribution isn't as far forward as you would guess, but I suppose that's good, because if you're going to move at any sort of speed, you don't really want 70% weight in the front. Turning, I mean, it's odd. It's very odd. That was a little pirouette. The turning circle doesn't appear to have suffered at all from spooling the front. I thought this thing was going to turn like a ship now, but if you can get up off that dirt. Yeah, it will go places that you would not expect. And as high as it is and how tall those tires are, it doesn't do that all that often. Every time I've rolled it so far, I've understood why. Yeah, I want to turn it down way too much. I want to do this way, and I know, let's just, I mean, if it's going to roll, it's going to roll. Yeah, it's so weird that the 1412 in here is louder than an outrunner. Oh, I don't know what that was. Maybe I panicked. I don't know. That was weird. Oh, I didn't put the battery back in. The hood is up a good ways. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's a rock bouncer, so it's not gonna have a crawler turning circle. What it does have is a lot of power, and let's see what it looks like on the dirt now. We're not getting it filthy dirty. I mean, what are we doing? Yeah, I'll just go ahead and go on record and say it. It drives somewhere between exactly the same and a little bit better, which makes no sense to me at all. But I mean, here we go. I mean, it'll lift a front now. But, like, I have nothing to complain about. So yeah, anyone who suggests in the comments, I'm assuming other Ryft owners, anyone who says just spool all three, yeah, absolutely right. Just spool all three. If at any point the sale comes up again and anyone orders a Ryft, just put the spools, either the spool inserts or the SSD spools. And at this point, with the hassle I've had with the SSD inserts, I mean with the SSD complete spools, I would probably just get the axial inserts, put them in the plastic and run them until the plastic wears out. And then I know a couple of companies make replacement housing, aluminum housings. Now I just have it pinned. Now mind you, yeah, this is low gear. But look at it, it's pancake flat. We'll wait for this to pass. Oh, I'm always downwind. Always downwind. Well, I mean, I guess that's how the wind chimes work. A little cyclone, maybe? Yeah, it has, its performance on open ground has not suffered at all in any measurable fashion. You can just roost. Now the wind kicked up a little more, so it gets the dust out of my face a little faster. So I think there you have it, an overly drawn out development of the Ryft. It will appear again after I paint that interior and get the heads fitted. The 2-speed is the 2-speed when I finally get around to ordering it, when I get enough stuff in a cart to order that Eco Power. I will do that. And it will install just as the others have. See, drag brake really good right there. I don't know, it's like selective drag brake. Yeah, everything better on 3 spools. I do wish I could test out high, but you know, I did it to myself. Oh, it is a fun thing. The fun has definitely not been reduced. If anything, the spools make for more fun. Let's park and chock it. There we go. So there you have it, everybody, the Ryft. Next time you see it, it should have some adorable little heads in there. I don't know when it's going to be a 2-speed. Like, I'm just fine driving it out here like this, locked into low. I mean, I'll get there. We'll get there. Or I'll break it first. It's a bouncer. We're supposed to bounce it. Oh. So thanks for watching, everybody. Following the progress. I hope that I provided some insight that, regardless of which way it swayed you, whether it made you want to buy one or never want to buy one, because you know, it is for it's equal and opposite. The Ryft is an inverse proportion. For as much fun as it is to drive, it's the opposite of that to work on. Like, you have to take it apart. You gotta take the whole thing apart. So, I mean, it goes to figure. So, you know, leave a comment below. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. Tune in for the next one. And have a good one, everybody.